Okay, let's see. Gotta turn the speaker off, it's echoing back. And I'm going to try, this time, I'm going to try to get that chat window so I can actually see what people are writing. If anyone writes anything, that is. Ugh. Let's see. Okay. So we're talking about, everyone's talking about shithole today. While I'm getting something set up here. Oh, I see why I can't see it. Oh, there we go. Testing. It says, look, I can see it. So shithole is the word of the day. We're hearing it nonstop on cable news networks. Shithole, shithole. Everyone's saying shithole. I thought that was one of them naughty words you can't say on TV, but everyone's saying shithole. I'm saying it. I guess it's contagious. It caught on to me too. I've been infected by the shithole. So we're going to talk about today, what is a shithole? Is it racist to call a place a shithole? Under what circumstances would it be racist to call a place shithole? And if you or I called a place shithole, is that one thing, but the President of the United States calling places shithole, is that another thing? These and other questions can only be answered by people in the live chat, because I'm not going to answer them. Let's see. How's everybody doing today? I can't see the chat yet, so. Let's see. Okay, well, don't worry. We're going to move on from the shithole. Oh, there we go. Live now. I got to get this volume down. Oh, boy. Turn it off. Okay. Yeah, that's not much help. Anyway. So, I'm going to have to leave. Let's see. Last time I was on, I couldn't even read. I have this giant screen, and I couldn't read the chat. Maybe I wonder if I could change the font or size. Let me see. Nope. Anyway. So, let's move on since I didn't get any answers from shithole. Oops, clicking the wrong thing. The Iran protests. So, do you think we should be supporting the Iran protests? The regressives, for some reason, think that we shouldn't. That since Islam is the religion of peace, that these people who are protesting the forced wearing of hijabs, they're Islamophobes. These are Islamophobes. Because they say, hey, these are women say, you can't treat me like an animal, like a second-class citizen. But by protesting and risking arrest, torture, or even imprisonment or death, they're Islamophobes. That's the new thing. So in supporting these people is Islamophobia, Islamophobia. So, anyhow, as you're probably familiar with, this channel is very critical of religion, particularly critical of Islam. Hey, this is a free-for-all live chat. So, if nobody recommends or asks questions, then I'm just going to go on and talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. Okay, so Iran protests. As it happens, Supreme Leader accuses foreign powers of sabotage as U.S. applauds courage of protesters. I am applauding their courage. Key points. When was this written? Oh, 10 days ago. Never mind. Jeez. Who gave me that? Anyway, let's see. Oh, here's a must-read. Christina Hoff-Summer says, this is a must-read, and it is a must-read. We're going to get rid of these Iran protests and shitholes and stuff. Okay. It's time to resist the excesses of Me Too, written by Andrew Sullivan today in New York Mag. Okay. So, there's a poster of Me Too with fists in the air. Me Too, Me Too. Hashtag Me Too, Me Too. A month or so ago, a friend and I mulled over when exactly the backlash to the then peaking Me Too moral panic would set in. Mid-January, we guessed, and sure enough, here we are. Well, they're further along than me, because I had absolutely no guess when this could. We might be months or years away from peak Me Too. No, we were not being clairvoyant, just noting certain dynamics. The early exposure of Roger Ailes, Bill O'Reilly, and Harry Weinstein achieved by meticulous, scrupulous journalists and smart, determined women quickly extended to more ambiguous and trivial cases. And what they're talking about, distinctions among many different types of offenses, from bad behavior at private parties to brutal assault and rape of employees and co-workers, were being instantly lost in the fervor. Punishment was almost always the same: social ostracism and career destruction. Whether you were Mark Halperin, who allegedly sexually assaulted women in his workplace, or Al Franken, damned because of mild handsiness and pretending to grope a woman's breast as a joke. Any presumption of innocence was regarded as a misogynist dodge. An anonymous online list of accusations against named men in the media was created and circulated with nary an attempt by its instigator. This is very colorful language, or flourishing language, whatever that thing is. I got lost here. That an attempt by its instigators to substantiate a single one within a few weeks, the righteous exposure of hideous abuse of power had morphed into a more generalized revolution against the patriarchy. And I can't think of anything that's better to revolution against than the patriarchy. We are evil. So, before I read any more, my take on this is they're talking about, I think I did it in one of my videos, that distinguishing between egregious acts against people and their body, and a little bit of grab-assy and, frisky hands, or just, I guess about, at this point, just winking at somebody or asking them out for a date is getting to the point where, I don't know. So, maybe those MGTOWs are onto something, huh? They had this all figured out years ago. This kind of mania will always at some point exhaust itself, and this kind of zeal will always overstep. In a free society, a pushback was inevitable and healthy. The extraordinary journalist Masha Gessen led the way with ruminations on sex panics. Blah, 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 blah. Daphne Merkin has noted how our current discourse all but strips women of agency and sex of eros. That sounds pretty terrible, doesn't it? Stripping sex of eros? Eros? how do you say it? Okay, Dave Chappelle in his sublime new Netflix special, which I haven't seen, used comedy to make a similar point. Sexual abuse is real and evil, and it is, I agree. But if you're talking to someone on the phone who appears to be masturbating, you can always, hang up. What is it with these people masturbating? Famous people, millionaires, they got to whacking off in front of people. I don't get it. This must be a new thing. I don't get the masturbating thing. Anyway, it's sex solo, I guess, but with somebody watching. I don't get it. The second person always appealed to me. Always. You can always. You can also do what a British female journalist did when she felt an unwelcome hand from a powerful government minister appear on her knee. She told him to knock it off. And if he didn't remove it, she'd punch him in the face. Nice. That's how you got to handle these grease balls. Punch him in the face. But Al Franken, boy, those hags, they hounded him and pushed him out of Congress, didn't they? He didn't even have. Here's my thing. You've heard this before from me. He didn't get a chance to have his say. So the witch trials said guilty, guilty. Oh shit! I hope this page isn't playing anything. So they said, guilty. Get out now, you gropey grabber. We won't have this in Congress. This is silly. Catherine, I didn't read the Catherine Deneuve article yet, though. They mentioned her. I got to read that. Let's get out of here and get on to something. Muhammad. Let's see. This is the article in ReasonOnFaith.com. Muhammad smashes the idols and the freedom of religion along with it. In this tweet, I point out how Muhammad smashing the idols in Mecca was a gross act of religious intolerance. We wouldn't deem this acceptable behavior today. I wonder what's going on with the screen. So here's a Sunnah.com thing that I can't read. I guess I can click on it. Oh, I guess it's highlighted down here. Oh, wait a minute. No, it isn't. I still can't read that little block. Anyway, instead of asking non-Muslims to remove their idols so that they could continue worshiping them, freedom of religion, Muhammad smashes them. Wow, a nice guy. In fact, this act of Muhammad and others they're talking about in the Quran and Hadith, okay, give religious cover to the likes of, why does the screen keep doing that? The likes of ISIS, who have destroyed many historical artifacts, including historical idols. Oh, that was sick. Not as sick as making women dress like beekeepers, though. The Masked Arab covers this well in episode. Growing up Muslim, we were taught that Abraham and his son Ishmael built the Kaaba as a house of worship for his worship of Allah. So basically, I think what they're talking about is that Muhammad, he's destroyed idols, and so it's okay. Yeah, here it is. It is similar to how Muslim historians like to point to pre-Islamic Arabia as all bad, when in fact, in many ways, women enjoyed more freedom and autonomy in that period. Being a prime example. Oh, here it is. Yeah, whatever. Wasn't that exciting, was it? Let's get back to something else here. Steven Pinker. Haven't read this one. Social media is making us dumber. Here's Exhibit A. It's kind of like, was that Nicholas Carr and Google's making us stupid? What a spoil sport. This week, a video surfaced of a Harvard professor, Steven Pinker, which appeared to show him lauding members of a racist movement. The clip, which was pulled from a November event at Harvard put on by Spike magazine, showed Mr. Pinker referring to the often highly literate, highly intelligent people who gravitate to the alt-right and calling them internet savvy and media savvy. The clip went viral. The right celebrated, the left fumed. Now, I haven't read it. I have not read this article yet, so I'm exactly where you are, unless you haven't read it. The neo-Nazi Daily Stormer website ran an article headline in part, Harvard Jew professor admits the alt-right is right about everything. A tweet of the video published by the self-described right-wing rabble-rouser Alex Widoslavsky got hundreds of retweets, including one from the white nationalist leader Richard Spencer. Oh boy. I don't see anybody commenting. Steven Pinker has long been a darling of the white supremacist alt-right. He has? Noted the lefty journalist Ben Norton. Well, that's sick. Why would I say that? Steven Pinker, alt-right? And he returns the favor. Others reacted to the humor with simple exasperation. Christ on a crutch, said the liberal commentator and biologist P.Z. Myers, who also wrote a blog post denouncing Mr. Pinker for this supposed alliance. I bet you if P.Z. Myers had criticized Muhammad or Allah, he'd be on that fire too, roasting from his buddies on the regressive left. The idea that Mr. Pinker, a liberal Jewish psychology professor, is a fan of racist anti-Semitic online movement is absurd on its face, and it's also the zeitgeist. It's a sign of the times. This is what we live in, okay? So it might be tempting to roll your eyes and dismiss this blow-up as just another instance of social media doing what it does best, generating outrage. Since I'm doing this live, I couldn't put an echo on generating outrage. I don't have a fancy studio yet. But had I recorded this, I could have echoed. Okay. But it's actually a worldwide episode to unpack. Let me scroll this up. Oh, I wonder what that picture is. Belvedere. Belvedere vodka. Looks nice. But it's actually a worldwide episode to unpack because it highlights a disturbing trend, a disturbing worsening tendency in social media in which tribal allegiances are replacing shared empirical understandings of the world. Or maybe subtribal is the more precise fitting term to use here. It's one thing to say that left and right disagree on simple facts about the world. This sort of informational balkanization, look at these long words. Balkanization has been going on for a while and long predates Twitter. What social media is doing is slicing the salami thinner and thinner, as it were, making it harder even for people who are otherwise in general ideological agreement to agree on basic facts about news events. And in real time, if anybody online and in real life, you're out there with your socialist buddies and you say something that's, anything that isn't pre-approved, dogma, or approved by the regressive left, then that's it. You're shit. You're a racist, Islamophobe, bigot, sexist, What am I leaving out? There's no one in the chat to tell me what I'm leaving out here. Help me out. So they go all over you. Unless you show your teeth and show your fists. I don't mean violence. I'm saying, look, I'm not a beta weenie boy, and you can't push me around. That's what you say. And that's what these women in Iran are doing right now. I don't know if you saw any of the clips. They're standing up, they're taking those hijabs off and saying, F you, Ayatollah. They're marching on those religious places. They're pretty bold. They're pretty damn bold. Anyway, back to Mr. Pinker. That's because the pernicious social dynamics of these online spaces hammer home the idea that anyone who disagrees with you on any controversial subject, even a little bit, is incorrigibly dumb or evil or suspect on a wide and expanding range of issues. There's no such thing as good faith disagreement. Yes, we know. The online anger aimed at Mr. Pinker provides a perfect case study. The clip was deeply misleading. If you watch the whole 8-minute video from which it was called, which I didn't see, now they got my interest. I want to see it. What's this ad? Opinion today. Work productively ever after. Asana. Oh boy. You know, I don't think I've ever clicked on an ad and bought anything. I don't think I've ever clicked on an ad. Why do they put them there? There's nobody in the comments section telling us why they put ads on these websites. Do you click on ads? Do you buy shit on the ads? I don't. I normally don't even curse. But now everybody's saying shithole. Shithole, shithole. All over CNN and MSNBC. Chris Matthews didn't have the testes to say it. But later on in the evening, somebody else, was it Rachel Maddow said it? Wolf Blitzer. Okay. The clip was deeply misleading. If you watched the whole 8-minute video from which it was called, it's clear that Mr. Pinker's entire point is that the alt-right's beliefs are false and illogical, but that the left needs to do a better job of fighting against them. There you go. And I would not be surprised if that's exactly what he said. Why not? But that's sacrilege. You have to bow to the altar of the high priestesses of social justice. The clip begins with Mr. Pinker saying he agrees with the other panelists, 2 journalists, and a lawyer, that political correctness has done an enormous amount of harm in the sliver of the population that might be, I wouldn't want to say persuadable, but certainly whose affiliation might be up for grabs. Let me check something real quick. Okay, I'm getting levels. For grabs. This problem presents itself when it comes to the often highly literate, highly intelligent people who gravitate to the alt-right, internet-savvy media, who often are radicalized in that way, who swallow the red pill, as the saying goes, the illusion from the Matrix. Okay, so this is I'm not getting any feedback there from the studio audience, so this is kind of like just me reading to you at bedtime. So you can read all this shit yourself. Let's move on to something exciting. Lalo Dagic. Oh, I got a notification. Ayatollah. I don't really care about that. I watched that video. That was kind of stupid. Yeah, so what? I wanted to... I saw this video. Now, here's a guy. Someone printed out a web page and threw it on my driveway. WTF. That's funny. Wall Street Journal in the bag. Yeah, I get it. So, let's see. Sargon of Akkad.
I received a message from a long-time subscriber regarding my debate with Richard Spencer that really changed my mind on how I'd been looking at the event. He pointed out that while it is important not to live only in the estimation of others, that wasn't an excuse for being selfish. And to his mind, that's precisely what I had been during the debate. He noted that I had responsibilities beyond myself and that I had not been taking these seriously, and I think that's a very fair point. I had not been considering the people who may feel like they rely on me, and that I am not just a content creator, but a representative of something larger than myself, and should have been mindful of that at the time. And by all accounts, this is probably true. I am certainly being treated as the figurehead of something, even if nobody can define it and our enemies would describe it as
skeptic community.
I've never liked this label, firstly because it represents only a reaction to something else, and secondly because it means we are allowing our enemies to define us. However, having a large group of independent-minded individualists agree on a label that will encompass a specific set of core beliefs is difficult. Frankly, I don't know what to choose. I'm not worried about how the enemies of liberalism will view it, or what they'll try to do with it, but I am concerned that we have been resting on our laurels for far too long, and we need to start organizing. The iron law of activism is that while you do nothing, nothing will change. The highly organized, well-funded, and deeply entrenched power structure of the extreme left will continue to subsume the institutions of our countries within its ideological sphere of influence. I am so sick and tired of people saying, well, ragging on bedroom feminists is so passé. Well, yes, which is why people don't do it. But I don't know whether anyone is paying attention, but the far left is making power grab after power grab, consuming more and more of our once liberal free societies and subjugating them to their dogmatic racial and gendered planning. While SJWs rack up victory after victory, we cannot even decide on a label. My concerned subscriber is right. I had not been taking this seriously, but there are serious consequences for everyone, and we must start pushing back as a united front with a way to identify one another and assert a powerful set of values, which I believe should be centered upon the individual, their rights, and respect for their personal agency. In my estimation, this is the spirit of liberalism, and is what is needed for the individual and the wider society in which they exist to thrive.
So, Sargon wants to start the Liberalist Club to combat the regressives, and I think it's a great idea, and I'll gladly try to be part of it. But I think it's kind of like we're dealing with the same thing with the secular community. Is it's going to be really quite a job organizing and keeping it rolling. Let's see what else he has to say here.
We must positively assert this, and not just on the internet. As we learned in 2017, doing almost anything in real life is far more effective than doing it on the internet, even if it's something as simple as sitting in an audience. If we want to see a future in which people are not oppressed because of their race, gender, sexuality, or lack thereof, then we cannot wait passively as the forces of social justice,
which is exactly why I started this channel. As the scales were peeled away from my eyes a few years ago, I started noticing a lot of nonsense, okay, so let's go back with PC, political correctness. So my initial reaction to political correctness was, give me a break. Then I thought about it, well, being considerate of others, nice idea, that's great. And there's an important distinction. It's one of consideration versus regulation. So I think we should be respectful towards each other and kind towards each other. But the political culture has it as an enforced, self-enforced type of thing where, it's kind of like the witch trials. I know it's a bad analogy. It's a weak analogy, but it's kind of like that because if you see online, if you see it in real life, people that get eaten up and swallowed alive for not marching in lockstep with the regressive left, the authoritarian left crowd, that's it. You're finished. And if you're at school or if you have a career that depends on that, that's not a great place to be. And through most of my life, I kind of always perceived the people on the extreme right as the evil meanies that wanted to censor our music, to censor our movies, to censor books, to censor what we think. You know, religious telling us how to think and what to think and what's right and what's wrong. And it's come full circle. There are still people on the right that feel that way and act that way, so they're not off the hook. But then we got this it's like a yin and yang, except for they're both the same thing, just a different flavor, you know? Different name, left and right. So what was that one thing? Alt-right, control left. We just passed it earlier. So let's see. Armin Navadi. Voice of Europe. How? Oh yeah, this is pretty sick. How a German children's channel promotes child marriages with migrants. Now I did read this one, and basically there's this girl. She's 16, and this boy, she's 15 or 16. Anyway, and this little boy, he's supposed to be 17, but then he admits he's 19. But then there's something I'm reading further that he's like probably 25 or 35. But it doesn't matter. He's an adult. She's not. And there was a film on the German children's channel, KIKA. I don't know if it's an acronym. Kika has sparked controversy in the country. The film had already aired in November, but it gained relevance after a German girl was murdered by a migrant last month and another almost drowned by her migrant boyfriend. Both cases were relationship related. Relationship related. It almost rhymes. Let's see. Children's channel. Kika broadcast the program about a 16-year-old German girl, Malvina, who fell in love with a Syrian Muslim migrant called Dia. At first, the age of Dia was 17, but later Kika corrected that to 19 in a special statement. So I guess the range between 17 and 19 isn't so bad. I don't know if they're adults in Germany when they're 17 or 19, or children or whatever. Maybe they're both children in Germany. But Dia looks much older. He already wears a full beard and clearly doesn't look like a teen. Well, that's an opinion. He rather looks 25, and some tests have indicated he might be in his 30s, and test is highlighted. I'm going to check that out later. Here's Dia is also conservative. Malvina is not allowed to hug other boys, to eat pork. Oh, no bacon. And to wear short skirts. Dia says, I cannot accept that my wife dresses like that. They're not married yet. He doesn't want his property to be acting any way he doesn't want her to act. He adds, I want to marry her as soon as possible, and then she's mine. Now, they're quoting this, so I'm assuming he said it. I didn't watch the documentary or the film or whatever it is. It was hard to accept for Dia that his girlfriend doesn't want to wear a headscarf. It irritated him. Well, I'm sure it did. His girlfriend says that they have their conflicts, but as long as I submit, everything is fine. Well, get used to that, girl. Okay, Ion Hersiali, Femins, Ina Shvenko, fear of causing offense has cost too many. Learn Liberty. why the Iranian uprising won't die. I hope it doesn't die. And here's the thing on the anniversary of Charlie Hebdo. And as you know, Hebdo, that even 3 years ago, it wasn't those poor innocent terrorists with guns and bombs and knives. Those poor guys, they're a product of colonialization and the patriarchy, the white patriarchy in the West. That's what caused them to do this. They poor guys. But these villains, these cartoonists, vile cartoonists, drew an image. And I'd say hanging's too good for them. So why not shoot them up and blow them up? So I'm remembering that day. And I'm remembering all the arguments, not online. There weren't no arguments online here. It was in real life. With the douchebags that were siding with the terrorists, because those insensitive cartoonists, they were insensitive. I don't get it. All right. So I wouldn't draw things to inflame people. I wouldn't do that. I would actually, but I don't know if I would publish it. And so I just, it's just not something I just don't feel like doing. I mean, I don't eat jackfruit. I mean, what the hell? I mean, so, but they have the right to satirize anything they want. And they satirize the other religions pretty regularly from what I see. But the reason why everyone's afraid to satirize Islam, Muhammad, Allah, Allahu Akbar, is because you will get killed. You could get killed for doing it. And I think there's a lot of us tired of the regressives standing up for the enemies of peace and justice in the world against those who want freedom and liberty. In this case, the cartoonists who paid with their lives for drawing cartoons. Were they insensitive? Were those cartoons insensitive? Were they... yes, they were certainly insensitive. They were intended to provoke. Anyway, let's move on here. Rebellion. And I did a video about this a few nights ago. And for some reason, the ticker on that stopped counting new views. I've seen that before. Maybe it's because it sucks and that's all the views I'm going to get for it. But I don't know. That's YouTube. Must read. White informed civility is the latest target in the campus wars. Well, if it's a must read, I'm going to have to read it. Try to get rid of this. White informed. Let me see. It's from this is an old one, January 2nd. White informed civility is the latest target in the campus wars. Who wrote this? Steve Salerno on the Wall Street Journal. Test. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to be able to read forget it. Not going to be able to read that full story. They did it to me again. So, I am taking requests for future videos. Let me get this back. So you can send me messages. You can say something in the chat. I'm going to be wrapping it up soon. Getting hungry. Got some Taco Bell here. Yo quiero Taco Bell. Anyway, it was great talking to everybody. Have a great weekend. Remember, there's disturbing trends out there. And only I have the solution to it. Yeah, right. So there are disturbing trends out there. And that picture you see, you know what that is? That's Chernobyl. I don't know why. Chernobyl, that was certainly disturbing. But it's in the Ukraine. And part of Ukraine is occupied by Russia, which is run by Vladimir Putin, who is buddies with Donald Trump. He just loves him some Donald Trump. So I stand with the people of Ukraine. Just get that one out there. So I'm gonna be ending this chat. Been on here for a while, and like I said, I'm looking for anyone that wants to jump in on a specific subject in the future. I've asked several people, waiting for responses or getting times coordinated. That's going to happen real soon. If you're listening to this and you want to jump in, you want to join me on a chat, we got this technology figured out. I can now see the chat thing. So, which I don't have to see anymore because I'm getting ready to go. Oops. Let me see. Chat. Goodbye. So get in touch on here. I do read my YouTube messages. I do read my Twitter messages. I don't check into Facebook as often. Can't stand any of the social media stuff anyway. But, hey, that's what you got to do, you know? So I will catch you. Look out for my next videos. I've got several in the works. I got some, what I think are funny ones, which means nobody will watch them. And, of course, we'll be talking about topics that are worth talking about. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed, everyone who is going to subscribe, and anyone who has supported us in any way. And that everyone says that click that bell thing so you get notifications about the videos. A little bell icon. Subscribe, click the bell, Taco Bell. It is now 2018. And I do not have any ending music, which I usually have on my videos, because this is live and I didn't work that out before I started. So anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for tuning in. And for the people in the future that are watching this, thank you for watching in the future, because today is January the 12th. And if it's not January 12th when you're watching this, it means you're watching it in the future. I have time traveled through video. Goodbye. Stop.